Hey guys, Edre here. Today I'm going to be doing, finally, a new album review. Technically, this is going to be relatively a two-part episode because the Nine Inch Nails had dropped two albums recently. But I'm going to be doing the first one, Ghosts 5 Together. This is obviously in some ways like the next installment in the Ghosts series, which, if you don't know, is Trent Reznor's relatively ambient albums and projects that he put out quite some time ago now, about roughly a decade ago. Um, but Ghosts 5, well, it obviously builds on that ambient um, aesthetic and sound that he built upon many years ago. It brings a lot of new stuff to the table, and I really think that it's very well executed, and some may even say better executed than some of the previous Ghosts projects. Now, obviously, this thing's ambient, but the thing that really stuck out to me, at least in my opinion, was less of it sounding like it was in a big concert hall and big ambient sounds like that, and it sounded to me more like you were in a room and there's like a lot of sound going on around you. It's much more. I don't want to say it's weird because this is an instrumental album, but in some ways it feels more personal, and like you can connect to it more, if that makes any sense. And a lot of that has to do with the piano instrumentals and the more acoustic and organic sounds used throughout this album. Um, I feel like that really adds to the feeling of it, which brings me back to this project quite a bit. It makes it feel much more human, I guess, than it does, say, electronic or droning, which is something that I appreciate. Um, just I think the choices of the instruments, the choices of the sounds used, all add and all mold together to make a really strong ambient album. Throughout this project, there's kind of pseudo synth voices throughout it that kind of remind me of religious chants, Georgian chants, those kind of things. These are prominent on songs such as With Faith and Your Touch, which is obvious because those titles already have that pseudo religious vibe, I guess. But the use of the piano and use of the instruments, use of the voices, honestly reminds me a lot of C418's material. Now, obviously, C418 is most known for composing the first installment of the Minecraft soundtrack, but I've dived deep into his discography, and he has so much good material. Sorry, my dogs are being absolutely ridiculous right now. I think that the Minecraft stuff is really good, but I think that some of his other stuff, such as Excursions, is also very good as well, and 72 Minutes of Fame. And some of the instrumentation on here in production really reminds me of C418's material, which I am not complaining. I think this really shines through on the song Apart. And just some of these, I'm not gonna do like a normal album review where I go through each track list and rank them, because when it comes down to acoustic projects, or I'm sorry, ambient projects, it's not a song by song basis. It's the whole experience. And this album really puts you in a zone. It really sucks you in, and I love that about this album. If it's Out in the Open, which is another song that really drags me in, or Your Touch, which has a much deeper bass tone than some of the other tracks. Either way, they all flow together greatly. I think Trent Reznor makes some of his best material when he is making ambient music. And I think ambient music is an amazing thing. For those who don't know, I haven't really talked about it on this channel. One of my favorite albums of all time is Aphex Twin's Selected Ambient Works Volume 2. I love the very stripped down ambient instrumentals and great synth throughout that album. And this reminds me a lot of that, but like a fresher version. Right, I will actually say I prefer this one over the previous four Ghosts projects, which were released quite some time ago. And I haven't gotten around to fully diving deep into Ghost 6, Locusts, which I will be reviewing relatively soon. But I'm looking forward to it because I am very satisfied with this project. I will. I hope that he actually continues to do some ambient work because I honestly do feel like he's really good at it. So at the end of the day, I have decided on giving this album a strong 8. Once again, for those who don't know, I rate everything from a 0 to 10 scale, with a 5 being average, anything above 5 being good, anything below 5 being bad. So an 8, that's a really good review. So good job, Trent Reznor. Good job, Nine Inch Nails, on making another good ambient album. Ghosts 5 together.